Happened in the 90's.
The challenges have never been tougher.
Do you have
The competition has never been fiercer.
it? Do you have it?
The extreme arena has never been more extreme. It's Nickelodeon Guts, the second season. So ask yourself, do you really have it? Guts! To tackle the pounding surf, to battle the brutal elements, to scale a meaner mountain. Watch Nickelodeon and find out. Every weekday at 5:30, 4:30 Central. Only on Nick.
Yeah, so we're talking about, being high at movies back in the day, allegedly. And do you remember freshman year of college? We moved into the dorms together. And then we had to go on like a, Christmas break or whatever, where we had to leave, I think, or maybe we were even staying in the dorms. But do you remember going to see Harry Potter 1 in the Chrysler Concorde with that gigantic bong doing bong rips? To me, Steve, that made that movie incredible. That made me love Harry Potter from that night on. So,
and I remember like one of the ushers were judging me because I used to work there, and I think we got in on free tickets. Like I hadn't quit yet, and he was like, "You two are going to see Harry Potter," and he made it seem like, "Oh, like you."
That's my D, fucking judgmental ass fucking movie, whatever. Dude, you worked at the Mommy movie theater?
Hell yeah. You don't remember that shit?
I worked there too.
This is way after you worked there though.
Yeah, I got fired. Yeah, there was some alleged issues with some rubber bands finding their way into some popcorn bags that shouldn't have been. And I got called out by the legendary Toledo weatherman, who I don't remember his name anymore, but he threatened me.
With the glasses?
He was bigger. I don't want to fat shame, but he was a larger guy. I think his name was Jeff something maybe. And I think
Jeff Heights?
I don't know what his fucking dude. It's gone now. But I remember he was picked because basically what happened was, that movie theater had those side concession stands that were just like the satellite ones. And me and this guy that we were just buddies, we got one of those concession stands and we were just like rubber band shooting into a bag, just like doing trick shots. Like, oh, I'll do it from here. I'll make it into the bag from here or whatever. Well, unfortunately, that bag somehow was used to give popcorn to somebody. And somebody that got the popcorn bag with all those rubber bands was that weather guy. And he was fucking pissed. And to the point where he came up and, like, I guess I didn't give him the reaction he wanted because I was like trying to hide the fact that we obviously did that. And he was like, "Get your fucking manager in here." Like, he went off, dude.
It was like a 90% chance of unemployment.
Yeah, dude. So I don't even think we got fired for that, but I just like somehow I stopped. I don't remember what happened, but I stopped working there. But that job sucked. So
I didn't mind it. Like we got free tickets. Like I work with some hot chicks who I didn't fuck. But hey, it was motivation to get up and shaping up your beard, put on your good slacks, and you made money, man. Like we were teenagers, we didn't have responsibilities, man, and we got paid every week, every Saturday. I remember that.
I do remember because for a while when a new movie came in, they would allow you to bring some friends to watch it before they actually showed it on Friday or Thursday or whatever it was.
Yeah,
and I got to see X-Men 1 like 3 days early with some people, and shortly, I think thereafter, they stopped allowing that, but that was fucking a dope hookup. But aside from that, I was just fat and I just hated being on my feet all the time because that's all that job was.
And you had to wear boots.
Yeah, and also the soundtrack that they played in the lobby was just the same shit over and over. So eventually, it was almost like mental warfare where you were actually being driven crazy slowly from here. You can remember what day it was almost because
every day was Groundhog Day.
Exactly. So yeah, I didn't care for that. Now, weather guy, I almost got my ass kicked by a weather guy, so that wasn't cool either.
Precipitation of fists. So, like, do you know the song "Hot Blooded"? Like, the whole soundtrack thing getting old quick. I can relate to that because that is one of the things I remember. They did a parody of that song. That was part of their loop on that soundtrack in the lobby. But instead of saying "hot blooded," they would say "hot butter." Dun, 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 dun.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
That's some shit you just don't fucking forget, man.
Dude, I had to work at Universal Studios out here in Hollywood. I got a job like in the offices, but it was a seasonal thing, and they liked me, so they were like, "Well, if you want to, you can work out in the park until we need you again in the offices." So I was like, "All right, I'll do it, for like a summer." And I was the guy who walks out with people that are in costume. So people don't fuck with this. So if like Shrek comes out in a costume, it's some like pathetic actor who's about to kill himself under there. But if a kid hits on it, they don't want that. So you got to like form lines, get photos. But in Universal Studios, every area is just playing a loop of something. And that summer, not only was I sad because I was a grown man working a child's job in a theme park, and it wasn't really going well for me in LA at that time. But I just remember like hearing, I think it was like the SpongeBob SquarePants theme song or something. And just literally that day I was like, maybe I'll just jump off this hill. Like this is awful.
Don't tell me you were being SpongeBob and you were feeling like a Squidward.
Dude, like you want to have a fucking job to kill your spirit. Work is one of those people that has to make lines in Universal. You've never seen people so offended that you're just trying to make a line for photos. It's like, it's just mind-numbing shit. And also watching, we had like, there's Minions and stuff. Like the actors that are in the costumes, I mean, it's insane. You think actors are crazy in general, but these people are in costumes. It's like a small guy in a Minions costume or like Shrek was this gigantic old Marine dude that was just pissed off all the time. But he was, it was just like weird to see that shit.
Well, dude, you know what? You're actually touching on something, man, because it's been said that people who work in that field, as far as like little children's entertainment, are a lot more depressed and less happy than people think. Like there's this one this old school actress who used to be on Captain Kangaroo, and that was all she was known for. And she tried to break out. She was in the cast from like the 60s into the 70s, and like she left the show, and like she just couldn't hit, and she ended up like jumping off of a couple story building.
Jesus Christ.
So yeah, that's an actual thing, man. So a lot of those people in those goofy costumes and shit, like, a lot of motherfuckers like have no soul. And it's unfortunate, man. Luckily they have costumes and you can't see the hurt.
I mean, honestly, it's probably even worse now because it's kind of weird that you brought this up, like that aspect of it, because I was thinking about when my nephew was staying with us, I sort of like saw what kids watch on YouTube and shit. Yeah. And like now there's just basically families it's like a full family, wife, husband, kids, that are influencers and are constantly streaming their life, constantly making videos that are just like, internet videos, like Vine videos with their whole family, and that's their whole identity. And I was thinking about like that in relation to like the guy who played, the Blues Clues guy or somebody, where you're never going to get out of that. That is what your lane is. And, like for people like us, there's an avenue to be successful monetarily in entertainment, like making videos for kids, which is basically, like this is the example I use. It's called FGTV, and that's what my nephew watched. And it's what I'm saying. It's like a family of influencers, and they make little funny rap videos. They make their own lines of toys, but it's very much just like unboxing videos and them playing video games and shit like that. So I wonder, like, if like somebody like us or somebody that wants to make actual movies, like you just sort of get cool at the fact that you can make money doing that, how depressed you would be, once you get stuck in that lane and you can't, like, it's like the Blues Clues guy. It's like he couldn't do shit else.
Yeah, like what else are you gonna do? Is like M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong? Is he gonna put you in his newest thriller? No.
Yeah, unless you like grow a beard and like drastically change how you look, I guess. Like you gotta. I can't even think of anybody that's ever done anything other than like that lane once they get put into that lane. You know,
it has to be something like that. Complete switch, like a complete like 360, man. Fuck a 180. Like, oh, I got a perfect example. Pee Wee Herman. So he was known, popular among children. I was a huge Pee Wee fan, man. And then that shit happened in the porn theater. And so lo and behold, he does blow. Complete opposite. And he grew his hair out, grew some facial hair. And like, I think I watched that in the theater when I still worked there, man. And I don't even think it occurred to me the first viewing, the first time I watched it in the theater. It might have been in hindsight, like, dude, that Paul Reubens, that's fucking Pee Wee.
And I gotta say, that role, he killed the fuck out of that shit. Like he did. That's a guy, I guess you just brought it up because I really don't know, man. That's a weird one because he was a kid's show, but it was such a trippy ass show that it's like, was it made for kids?
It was made for both because because I was a kid and I was a fan of it as a kid, but watching it now, and now that like marijuana has been introduced into my life, it has a whole different, like, I can still appreciate the shit, but on like a different, like the fact that it's trippy and I'm high, like that part. You got talking couches, talking TVs, genies popping out of little boxes, out of Kleenex boxes, and fucking cartoons with fucking penny eyes. Like, yeah, that shit is like, it elevates me even more. So shout out to Pee Wee, Paul Reubens, all of that, man, and the Groundlings crew. They produced
that show had a lot of celebrity. They had Lawrence Fishburne was in that shit. Phil Hartman was in that shit.
R.I.P. Phil Hartman, yeah, man. So the mom off of Charlie's mom off of It's Always Sunny.
Oh shit! Really?
Yeah, that was her, bro. She was the I wouldn't say love interest, but she was like the girl with the beehive hair that would come around.
Oh, dude. I mean, if you
Yvonne,
that was shit. Was
Miss
weird.
Yvonne.
Those movies too. Trippy as fuck, still great. That is a weird one though, because he was it was almost a joke that it was a kid show because it was in the format, but it was like fuck and druggy the fuck out. It was cool. So shout out to Paul Reubens, killed it. Maybe not beat off in the theater, but you know, it's cool.
I never understood that. Like, why did he get arrested? You're like, that's what they do in porn theaters. Why was it like bad when he did it? Who called? Because to me, it's like the only way that happens is if you're like violently beating off and somebody's like, we need to get the cops here. But yeah, like, what was there a sting on this theater? Dude, somebody been plotting on Pee Wee, man. Somebody been like, because that just seems abrupt. Like, as soon as he pulled his jaw out, like, it's like, he's doing it.
Yeah.
Move in.
Freeze, punk. You know who
Pee Wee's pulling on his pee-pee.
You know who it was?
Who?
It was that fat guy who stole his bike and
You'll be sorry, Pee Wee Herman.
Remember that fat rich guy? It was him, dude. That makes all the sense in the world. Of course it was.
Yeah, fucking meatball.
I know you are, but what am I?
Well, we just solved the mystery, Steve, so congrats.
Gee, Scoob, let's get back to the mystery, man. No, I could do better than that. Gee, Scoob, let's get back to the mystery.
Zoinks. Nah, that was bad. You got it, man. You're a fucking like low key impersonation expert. I'm really impressed, man. I'm really impressed.
Have I done my Obama?
I don't know. I mean, bust it out right now. Hey, what's up, Barack? How's it going, man?
Now look, that's where it stops.
What?
Now look.
I mean, I don't know, Steve. You gotta.
No.
I don't know.
Anything past that, it's like it's a toss up. I'm just like, you're trying too hard now. There's like you
got to get into like the rhythm. He has like a rhythm, dude. He's like, well, you got to do this.
There's a lot of that. And
this is embarrassing. I'm embarrassed now, Steve. I'm not trying. I can't even stack up to you anyway, so I defer all impersonations to you except for Harvey Firestein.
Man, you got it.
Good.
Dude, I like that. That's brilliant. You have a really good Jesse Ventura.
Are you trying to tell me that the CIA wouldn't listen to a Navy SEAL like me, you son of a bitch? It fades in and out, but I used to have a great Jesse, and I just haven't heard him in a while. So shout out to Jesse the Body. I hope you're good.
Check it out. I get more beautiful looking every day, yeah.
Here comes Street Fighter 2! You want 'em, you got 'em! 12-inch tough, snarling, savage Street Fighters! Ryu's ready with the Kung Fu 1-2! Blanca's gonna bonk ya! Lyle Guile and you'll go out in style! And Wicked M. Bison comes out slicing! Capcom Hall of Fame Street Fighter 2 figures each sold separately.
Now, hey, man. Hey, boys and girls. This is Steve G and Matt G with Happened in the 90s, a show where we talk about things that happened in the 90s. So get out your Super Soakers and your Seattle Supersonic jerseys because it's a different world from where you come from. And
where you come from. I can't do it, Steve. I tried.
Ooh.
You think the bass is taken away from the vocal?
Dude, you got it, man.
It went flat quick. I had to pull out.
Dude, you could lead the A and B selection at a Baptist church.
Then where you come from?
See, Harvey Firestein could definitely rock that, though. I could belt that shit out right now.
It's a different thing, Pittman. But where you come? Nah, that was my Cat Williams doing the different world. I need to work on that. Everything, nigga, everything.
Now, there you go. You Coke and I'm Pepsi, motherfucker.
Now, this is the first time we're talking about Different World. It is a pop culture staple, and I feel like Dwayne Wayne is a pop cultural icon. He's famous for his flip shades in the earlier seasons, but over the years, he grew up to be a man and more responsible. He eventually graduated and he became a teacher at Hillman, at the fictional University Hillman. And this is where we'll end up talking about today. We're going to be talking about that, and we're going to be talking about a very monumental night in professional wrestling history. You could really say this is the birth, or could be the birth, of the Attitude Era. It sparked a lot of this. Our guy, Hale. Who is this guy? I know you know who I am, but you don't know why I'm here. And those words would resonate.
To take over. Like, dude, I don't know what to start off on. Like, I'm just so excited to talk about it because I didn't realize what we were seeing whenever we put this on the list. And you talk about monumental moments in wrestling history. This is it, dude. This is it.
Yeah, man. This is where the big boys play. Oh, y'all gonna learn. Ken Dow, billionaire said, y'all gonna learn today.
Razor Ramon's calling out billionaires on live television, dude. What more do you want? Do I gotta bust? I don't even know why I don't have the Razor Ramon shirt on right now. I'm slipping right now. Steve.
Matt, you is tripping.
Son of a bitch. But I can't wait. I don't want to just go right into it, but
yeah.
Needless to say, you're welcome, everybody. You're welcome.
Man. Now, on May 27, 1993, Different World, they're in their final season and they're airing the episode Lean on Me. When Dwayne applies for a job he really wants, Willie offers encouragement and support. Now, the opening scene, we start off in the classroom being taught by Dwayne Wayne. Terrell, played by character actor Patrick Malone, he sneaks into class late and gets caught by Mr. Wayne. He brushes it off like no big deal. I didn't miss anything. Dwayne Wayne says, it's not about that. I'm trying to teach you respect and responsibility. Obviously, he hasn't learned about respect because he says something about Gina's mom. And Gina, played by the lovely AJ Sanders. So this leads to a classic 90s cracking battle with all the typical from that time. Your mom's got so much hair in her arms, it looks like she's got buckwheat in a headlock. Your mom's so dumb, she thought a quarterback was a tax refund. I swear, those were knee slappers at that time. You got to think. That was almost 30 years ago, and those jokes killed. Now, that was the intro scene, and we go to the final rendition of this Different World theme song. And at this point, it's sung by Boyz II Men. This is not my favorite rendition. I'm more familiar with the Patti LaBelle or the Aretha Franklin version.
I'm assuming that's because I said I have the same notes, Steve. I didn't care for this version. I didn't know it was Boys to Men. I wasn't paying attention to that part of it, or maybe they show it somewhere. But love Boys to Men, no disrespect at all,
we all
whatsoever. But I'm with you. I don't know who sang the version of the song that I did, but it was a woman and she was killing it, and I missed that.
That the one that I think most of us are familiar with was the Aretha Franklin version. She did it for most of this series' tenure. Now we find out Dwayne plans on taking a trip around the world with Whitley, who he's married to. That's his wife at this point, for the summer. And Colonel Taylor thought that he had plans for a summer management position at Kanishiwa. He's not sure if he's qualified. He's still trying to figure out whether or not I should even apply. Am I a fit for this company? Now, Whitley and Dwayne, they're discussing whether or not he should apply. She's telling him you have a 3.8 grade point average, a full-time job, and you're married to one of his female characters in all of Black Hollywood history, and still keep up a 3.8 GPA.
I mean,
Dwayne Wayne, bravo.
Killing it in life, killing it in romance as well. I mean, I forgot about Whitley. I did not watch the show a lot, but I mean, we all watched it. And D-Zam. Now, my thing is, why not? I get wanting to do this, but stick with the plan, man. You're doing pretty good. I get money's tight and everything, and you have this woman who has high class taste, but she seems to be pretty. They have kind of a discussion about it, and I get it, but you're young. But what is the actor? What's Dwayne Wayne's? What is his real name? Is that
Kadeem Hardison?
Kadeem Hardison. This motherfucker is another legend of the 90s. And I got to say that I remember the flip-top glasses, but before we get into the episode, my personal favorite moment of his career was when he was in White Men Can't Jump. He was amazing. Yeah. So that's probably I just had to call that out. You and I both love it, but Sidetrack Sally, I just had to say it before I forgot to say it. So.
Oh, I mean, dude, he killed it in that movie. He was also in Vampire in Brooklyn, happened in the 90s.
Oh, shit, yes. Dude, and I gotta say, you get a little taste of that in this episode. That little, throwing the dozens at this kid that's fucking with him, him, cracking on him. That was very much sort of if he got typecast, that's what he kind of was in those movies, too, just ripping on people, being funny as fuck.
Yeah, he's from Brooklyn, Kadeem Hardison. So yeah,
damn,
it's an Olympic sport for him probably at this point. Now we're in the cafeteria with Dwayne, Whitley, Ron, Kim, and her boyfriend Spencer, and his Savion Glover dreads. And everyone has faith that Dwayne has the job in the bag. Colonel Taylor suggests he invite the vice president, Mr. Yoshida, over to his place for dinner because it would show initiative. So he decides to call from the cafeteria payphone that apparently you don't really have to pay for. So he gets off the phone and he says that they already know who he is and that the vice president's coming over for dinner the next day. We go back to Dwayne and Whitley's house, and Whitley's wearing a kimono, looking like a sexy geisha in preparation for their time spent in Japan. Now,
I would be fucking pissed, dude. I'd be like, do you want me to get this job, or do you want us to get fucking arrested for a hate crime here, bitch? This is too much.
This is 93, so people weren't as sensitive, I feel. And she's doing it from a good place. Now we get a knock on the door, and they're thinking it's Mr. Yoshida, the vice president, but no, it's none other than Dwayne Wayne's ex, Keanu. And a recurring joke throughout this series is Whitley always mispronounces her name, Keanu. She's called her Kika Coco, Kimono, Nookie, Kanikalan, Karate, Chameleon, Kiki, Coco Melon. And she still baffles her name when she answers the door and she sees Dwayne Wayne's ex. And of all people, it's motherfucking Keanu. She just happened to take a job in the international division of Kanishiwa, and she now works for Mr. Yoshida himself.
Boy, this is a lot of tongue-twisting information you're giving out, Steve. Kanishiwa employs Chameleonaire, and
and Coco Melons go cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. And now Kenesha, it's a business that he has put in time with, and they've been reaching out to him for years because he seems like a good fit, and he's just been a standout student. And but we'll find out later, things have changed. Now, Miss Kinu, we find out she graduated from Avery, another fictional college, and she took that job with Kenesha. And Whitley feels a certain way because she feels that Kinu is possibly still hurt. She was just dropped from Dwayne Wayne more than a year prior. They had an engagement and he broke it off. And
they have like a weird energy. It's almost like, cause like he starts hugging her and shit when she shows up. So I'd be a little bit perturbed if I was Whitley myself.
Come here, girl. Of course you do.
Oh, you been.
Here's a little something to cool you down, Kiki.
Yeah, like I don't want to see my ex at all, especially with my current.
You know, the X never meets the sex, Steve. That's rule number 3 in the rule book.
Should never cross paths. You know, they have a sit down, and she's kind of asking him questions in preparation. I don't know if this is like a pre-interview of the actual interview, and just Whitley, she's just real tense. And you know, Kinu is sensing that she's got a little bit of spice in her creme brulee. And so the next day, Dwayne meets Kinu at the Kenesha office, and he apologizes for his wife's behavior the night before. And Kinu apologizes for showing up without a fair warning. Like, you knew where you were going. And, you know, but she said she just wanted to catch him off guard or some bullshit like that. And it's long forgotten, she said, but she didn't get the job.
And I mean, I appreciate the honesty that this woman gives out, but one, it was kind of fucked up that she didn't call him and just give him a heads up, because that is crazy. Imagine thinking, oh, I'm going to interview for my job. This guy's coming over to talk to me, and then your ex is at the door. It's fucking crazy. So that's weird. But, you know, she's honest with Dwayne and basically just tells him flat out, you know, it's not because of us. It's because you weren't good enough. The guy we hired speaks Japanese. The guy we hired made a computer program that we're about to implement and use in our whole business. The guy we hired is just better than you. So you're out of luck, but, you know, good to catch up. So that's a tough pill to swallow. He handles it great, honestly. He tries to sort of go home, not even talk about it, just sort of, you know,
gather his thoughts.
Exactly. And not bring it up. It's not her, it's not Whitley. It's just, it is what it is. And he does try to sort of smooth it over and not acknowledge it, but it's clearly, you can tell it's fucking with him.
Yeah. And, you know, when he comes home, it's kind of hard to gather your thoughts when they're throwing the celebratory party for you and the music's turned up to 11, and you know, everybody just knows that Dwayne's got the job. It's in the bag, and he tells them like it's not the case.
You didn't get the job.
And everybody, like his boy Ron, and it's coincidentally one of my best friends that I had in college is named Ron. And Dwayne Wayne was like one of those people, like a Steve Urkel, who I tried to like not emulate, but like when I'm watching these shows as a kid, I try to see like who of these protagonists, who can I easily like see myself putting my like in their being in their shoes, basically. So it's funny how like that is and like how my life turned out. Sidetrack Sally like a motherfucker. But Ron, he tells him that like, oh man, she's just doing it because she's sour. He dropped her on her face. And he's the only one right now who's like, no, bro, like they just had a better candidate. And like you said, he's taking it like a champ. But at the same time, I need y'all to get the fuck out of my house.
Yeah, I mean, don't do this. For anybody out there that's saying, hey, my friend might be getting a new job, they got to go interview, I'm just going to throw a party and just not tell them, bad idea. Because this could happen. And I mean, you know, make the most of it. Let everybody get wasted, I guess. But I would do the same thing. I'd be like, get the fuck out. Let me eat some of these delicious, whatever their catering is, and just fucking eat my feelings away. Because I've been there, dude. When you think it's a lock, you know, I got this. My life's about to change, and then it doesn't change. You're like, oh, I guess I'm not good enough. And this is even worse because the motherfucker that was interviewing you had the audacity to say you aren't good. Not the audacity, the honesty to say you just weren't good enough. You know? And on top of it, somebody you used to fuck and you dumped, or she dumped you. I don't remember exactly how that happened.
Well, he dumped her because like everybody knew at this point that the woman for him was Whitley. Like that's the way the storyline was built up to. You know, she was dating and she was actually at the altar about to marry her guy when they took their break, when she was away from Dwayne Wayne. She was with the guy named Byron, played by Joe Morton. Joe Morton, Morton. I'm gonna put some Morton salt on your sneaker from Terminator 2, the legendary Joe Morton. And so that called off because Dwayne Wayne, he interrupted that and he just like stopped that shit at the altar. And it was this whole dramatic deal. It was like a big deal when it happened because he stood up for his woman and he interrupted the wedding. But in hindsight, as a grown man, you do that shit at my wedding, you gonna catch them hands, Dwayne Wade. But I fucks with you, Dwayne Wade.
Yeah, I never understood that because that does happen a lot in sitcoms. It's like, how is there never some backlash where you get the shit kicked out?
Yeah, because it's the protagonist, so the protagonist can do no wrong. But if you put yourself in that other person's shoes who was about to get married, you're like, dude, like I want to fucking destroy you in front of my family, your family, her family.
I mean, fuck the bullshit. If whoever's paying for it, I'm the one if I'm paying for it, I'm the one that's gonna beat your ass because I dropped fucking some money into this motherfucker. Fuck all the feelings, dude. I got a bunch of brisket going cold that I'm like, this is a wash now. So go fuck it up.
No, they cut into Mr. Wayne's class in the next scene, and Terrell is again sneaking late in, and this time he sits in, and like while Dwayne Wayne is giving the lesson, he's actually corrected by Terrell.
From time t = 0 to time t = 1, we can apply Newton's method.
Excuse me, Mr. Wayne. I know you're professor and all, but that ain't right.
What's not right, Terrell?
You apply the mean value theorem.
You're right.
Because Dwayne's head is just not in it. He's just still like he's feeling a certain way. He's just kind of down and out. So he just like cancels class for the rest of the day. Like, hey, y'all just have this day.
Well, he tries to, but that one chick's like,
well, we only 25 minutes into the class, and my expensive tuition says I get a full 55.
And that's somebody I had a crush on, AJ Sanders. She was, she played in a lot of different things. She was on an episode of Martin. She was on episode, I want to say Jamie Foxx show. She kind of played the 90s black sitcom Chitlin Circuit, but she's still fine.
I don't remember her from stuff. I mean, she was hot. Looking at her there, but yeah, I mean, that was not me in college. If somebody wanted to, cut class, I'd be like, yep. Sounds good to me.
Smoke more bowls. Now, they go back to their house, and Dwayne, he's just like, he lets it all out on the table. Like, look, I right now I can't afford you new clothes, baby. I can't take you trips around the world. We can't do the life that like I was kind of hoping I could do for you within a short time. And she's just like, I fucks with you. I don't like, that's fine. I don't care as much, I think she said. But hey, we in this together, and that's a writer. That's how it should be. Because he's feeling like he's slipping. He's falling. He can't get up.
Now, I know I'm petite, but you can lean on me.
Well, you're not that petite, baby.
I got a big heart.
And a big butt.
Yes, sir.
I mean, she's a down-ass bitch, dude. It's a big thing for her, too, because she is this highfalutin-ass chick who's used to all this, like, finery and shit. And, I've been broke my whole adult life, so I can sympathize with Dwayne on this too, where it's just like, I mean, unless you're willing, like, thankfully my wife was cool with a $10 meal for our first date, not some fucking fine ass Olive Garden.
Yeah, and that's, she's supposed to be this Creole, man, and she's another one of those Southern debutantes. Man, they keep
that
popping up in our
accent, dude.
episodes.
I can't believe I forgot about hers because she is fucking fine as hell, and she has that sexy accent. So
yeah, Piccadilly, Cotillion, sassafras, all of that. Yes, I do declare. Oh, yeah.
I was about to say you got to throw I do declare. She definitely has said that on this show at some point. So, I mean, shout out to Dwayne. He got it. He got him a good one. And, fuck that job anyway.
Konnichiwa. And did you see the logo that they had when he walked into the office? I'm like, if y'all not making that much money, that shit look like a third grade project. Look like somebody did that shit with magic marker. Like that shit did that looks so off brand. Like, oh, y'all for real, y'all got headquarters in New York and y'all got headquarters in Japan for real? Because I can't tell. Shit, this is the
cardboard?
90s, motherfucker. For real. Get out of here with that old fucking Lucille Ball looking fucking logo. Shout out to Lucille Ball. No hate. I love you.
Yeah, I mean, basic, and then also, Dwayne just gets to smash at the end of this video. He wins in the end, completely. So, was this an exciting episode of this show, Steve? I don't like to, I do like to judge. That's half of this podcast, but this wasn't my favorite. But maybe it was because we had just seen something else so majestic this week that it paled in comparison, I guess.
Hold on, we'll get to it.
Crazy Charlie was on the loose, but so was a maniac. Lego maniac! Crazy Charlie was crazy to think he'd escape a Lego maniac. The Lego System Town Rescue Collection. Each set sold separately. Maniac not included.
Now, in 1994, the final broadcast of the Arsenio Hall show airs, and the guests are Whoopi Goldberg, James Brown, Dave Koz, Everett Harp, and Luther Vandross makes a surprise appearance. Now, when I was a kid in the late night, when it came to talk shows, I wasn't a Johnny guy. I never really fucked with Johnny Carson when he was doing his thing, man. This was my Johnny. This was the cool one. Like Johnny was for your parents. This was the one that was kind of like the people that you liked anyway. It was kind of like what Conan became also. It was just the subversive. It shouldn't have been. It was the best one anyway. And Arsenio had wrestlers. I remember him having Macho Man, Hogan. He would have Ultimate Warrior, Bad News Brown. He even had our guy, Akeem. Jive So, bro. I mean, I didn't even know that, but I mean, he had classic moments on that show when Dice cried, when fucking that one. What that movie didn't do well, and he just started tearing up on the show. That was amazing. And he had to he had to dice it out. Like he starts crying, he's like, and he just starts hitting the butt again. I mean, it's amazing. But I mean, they tried to bring it back, and it was one of those things I was like, well, it's not going to last, but he deserved it. It's not the same. Yeah, man. You can't capture lightning in a bottle twice. Now, they had special cameos of different people. I think Arnold Schwarzenegger was in this final brawl. He gave a video shout out, because he's had some of them all, man, from wrestlers to actors, athletes, and some of the legends. A lot of people who aren't with us anymore, man. I remember Bone being on there, Snoop Dogg, Wu-Tang Clan, and Bobcat Goldthwait, maybe Bobcat Goldthwait, deface the actual set. And you mentioned that Andrew Dice Clay episode. Now he had a beef, and he was indirectly addressing Sam Kinison. Now Sam Kinison appeared like maybe a week later, and he addressed that, and he was just kind of mocking Andrew Dice Clay. And it was like, oh man, I wish I was old enough to like appreciate this when it happened, because those are both legends, man. Different styles, but they're both vulgar. So it's like you hardly get comedian beefs out in public like that. And when it wasn't even like the Rogan Carlos Mencia thing where it was based off of some like injustice. It was just they didn't like each other, and they were public about that, and they were both huge as fuck. So
It'd be like Eddie Murphy and fucking, Richard Pryor going at each other publicly. I mean, that might even be a little bit non-contemporary, but something like that. It was crazy. It was funny. I'm a Dice guy, so
I would probably lean. I'm in the middle, man. I can't pick, man, because they both have. It's like apples and oranges, bro. They both, like I said, they're vulgar, but like Kinnison had more of a renegade, they're both rebels, I guess you could say, but he was more in your face.
Oh, yeah, but see, Kinnison, the window of good comedy you got was very small. And then he got crazy and coked out to the point where he just had like women in chains coming out with him and shit. And he was trying to be a rock star. It's great to watch whenever you can just see the evolution of it. But to me, Dice was funny as fuck. He was a worldwide phenomenon with the fucking, the poems or whatever the fuck you want to call that shit. Like Little Miss Muffet, people would just be repeating that shit everywhere. But also, he had like this weird comedy genius where there's this one album he released where he did a set unannounced, late as fuck in some comedy club in New York. I forget what the album's called, but he's just bombing the whole album because nobody knew, didn't give a fuck. It was late, but it's hilarious to listen to if you love comedy. So I gotta find this album real quick just so I can just shout it out. But yeah, I'm a Dice Clay guy. He's gotten weird as it, like he's sort of became this character that he just created to be successful. But yeah, sorry, dude, I can't find this fucking album. So
I mean, he was a legend, man, and that like right there at that moment is when they beefed, is when they were probably both at their peaks, man.
Oh, the album's called The Day the Laughter Died.
They did, okay.
Listen to that shit. It is fucking hilarious. But yeah, that was the other thing Arsenio did. I mean, he had a fucking move, dude. It was like the whoop shit that became a fucking brand in and of itself.
Yeah. From the Dog Pound, and people don't know that that's a reference to the Cleveland Browns because he's a Clevelandite. Go Ohio, down with that 216.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Well, hey, that's where it came from, the Dog Pound. Yeah, man.
No, god damn it, Steve! You ruined this. You
ruined I hate to ruin it for you, man. Hey, I still love you, Arsenio. Now, in 1994, the 69 Boys released 199 Quad. Now, they're a very forgettable relic of the decade, but the thing that does stand out in this album was the Tootsie Roll. Tootsie Roll. It was a phenomenon. Tootsie Roll.
I mean, how many dances did this get played? To the left. To the left. To the right. I remember. I kind of remember it, but I didn't Tootsie Roll, Steve.
Can sweet girl, let me tell you Tootsie Roll. My favorite was Daisy Dukes because it kind of starts off like a Mortal Kombat. Come on, baby, get down, daisies. It's kind of like, yeah. Can you do a mashup of that? Come on, baby, get down, daisies. Mortal Kombat. It kind of goes the same tempo, but I don't want to spend too much time on the damn 69 Boys. But Tootsie Roll your asses off, man. Word to Uncle Luke. Now, on that same day when they released the Tootsie Roll, the Eagles launched the Hell Freezes Over tour in Burbank, California. And the reunion tour is the group's first since breaking up in 1980. But much is also made of the band becoming the first to charge over $100 per ticket for arena shows.
That's cheap now.
Now, was George Leroy an Eagles fan?
Oh, yeah. He definitely had some. Are they Hotel California?
That is them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Before CD books, there were these weird briefcase like things that people put tapes in with the cases. Yeah. And he definitely, a lot of Harry Chapin, a lot of Eagles, little bit of Willie Nelson. So maybe they were, maybe they were smoking some dope back in the day, but there was some Willie in there, but there was definitely some Eagles up in that bitch. So
would he pay $100 for the Hell Freezes Over tour?
You ain't getting George Leroy to a concert for nothing. He don't like a bunch of people just chilling out like that. So I doubt it. But now $100 for a concert ticket, you're lucky if you're in like some garbage ass seat for $100 now.
Man, he's a smart man because fuck people. Now, on that same day, we were saying bye to Arsenio. 69 boys were getting their Tootsie Roll on, and Eagles were making Hell Freeze Over. The Flintstone premiered in theaters, and what a yabba dabba piece of doo doo it was.
You didn't like Flintstone, Steve? Rick
I like
John Goodman.
I like John Goodman. I like Rick Moranis, and Rosie O'Donnell's okay. I can tolerate her, but I just know, and it just looks like shit from miles away. What I did like is the fact that they were partnered with McDonald's, and I think I did have one of those cups that kept me quenching my thirst throughout the summer of '94. But outside of that, the movie can go straight to hell. I don't know why they signed up. I don't know why they signed up for it, because, like I said, I like the people, the players in the production, but it looked like shit on paper. John Goodman, why did you sign up for this? Rick Moranis, you've done better.
I don't know, Steve. I'm going to have to go ahead and go against you on this one, because I didn't hate this. There have been bad cartoon to live action movies. This is not one of them.
This is totally one of them. This is a shit. This is grease turds. I think that's what Siskel and Ebert rated it. They didn't even give it any thumbs. They said this is like a half of a grease turd.
I don't know, Gene. This is half a grease turd. That's what I'm calling. I think you're lying. They said, yeah. And I'd like you to go back. I haven't revisited it, but just remembering from, was it like mind-bogglingly good? Absolutely not. But you see the people that are in it. These are strong actors. So I feel like had it not been them, it would have been a complete train wreck, like you're saying. As it stands, I'm going to give it 3 out of 5 stars. It's an average movie. It's not as bad as you're painting it.
3 out of how many stars, Matt?
5, Steve. 3 out of 5. 3
and a half?
No, 3. They made a second one that was not as good. That is to the level of what you're talking about. But is it a Buff Bagwell porno movie? No. It's a better porno movie.
They both sucked fucking balls through a garden holes, bro.
This is insanity. You know what? Agree to disagree, Steve, because I'm not going to have you besmirch. Rosie O'Donnell, have at. But Rick Moranis, this guy's coming off a head injury. John Goodman's lost a lot of weight. He's looking a little sick. Give these men their flowers, Steve. Let's not fucking shit on the fucking career here.
Fuck their careers. They'll be all right. I apologize to you if I was being a little too harsh, and if I was attacking you. My apologies, friend. But 3.5, dude. Like
I said, 3 out of 5. Let's not. Adding a half a point is adding too much. And Is it again? If I go to a library and it's free and I need to watch a child's movie, I'll pick it. But I'm not gonna watch it. That's a 3 out of 5 movie. I'll go pay for it and I'll never watch it again. But was it bad? No.
It was bad, man. And like 3 star, that is Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. I feel that's 3 stars. That's like 3 stars is at least rewatchable. Like this out of like all of the different kinds of movies that you had in your collection days, you never consider adding this shit. And I feel like you got some 3 stars. Like I feel like all your collection, there was nothing less than 3 stars. And this definitely didn't even cross your mind.
When you stack it up to that, I just can't argue with you. But at the same time, I'm just saying you're painting it to be like, you took a shit on the ground and it's better than that movie. And I would say it's a passable library rental. It's a free movie that you'd be like, I don't feel bad that I spent an hour and a half watching this. It's fine.
For free 99, okay, I'll smoke a bag of that.
There you go.
Now, that following year, in 1995, May 27th, actor Christopher Reeve injures his spinal cord after falling off his horse in an equestrian competition. The injury paralyzed him from the shoulders down, and he depended on a ventilator to breathe, man. It's Mr. Superman himself.
I mean, this was the biggest news of all time when it happened.
This was a huge deal, man. At this point, like when you think of Superman, you think of this man. You know, he was built for this part. He was born to play that role. He looked like, if Superman really existed, it looked like Christopher Reeve. And still, he's the first guy that, like, we've had 3 or 4 different Superman since, and he's always the first guy. Still, that's never going to change.
Yeah, those were the only Superman movie. Maybe it's because I was a kid and I was accepting of the character a little bit more, but those ones that he played, even the shit ones where they made the weird Fabio guy from space and they fought in space and shit. I mean, there's some real shitty stuff going on there, but he killed it. He was, that's what he was known for. He was like a pretty prominent actor, but as soon as this happened, I mean, 2020 specials about it, interviews with his wife. And I mean, this was an ongoing thing. Because then he became an advocate in his lessened condition, and that was, part of his career too before he passed. Rest in peace. But I mean, I do definitely. This was like the Diana shit for me. It was like, happened. You were like, oh wow, that's crazy, and it was just on the news forever. So
a lot, man. In a way, he was looked at as a lot of kids' heroes, and we're from that generation. Like when those movies were coming out. They would be played late in the afternoon a lot, or even late at night. They would be that movie played on TV. So we grew up watching him in that image with the S on his chest, man. Like he's invincible. Like
I mean, fucking what's his face is in the movie. Dude, that's like, oh my god. Fucking his dad in that movie.
Marlon Brando.
Yeah, Brando. I mean, here's how fucking classic though, like that in the Batman, Tim Burton's Batman is. They're still calling back to those. They're so good.
Yeah, man.
So I mean, you're right, and they were played a lot. And I mean, he was in some other shit. Like I think he was actually becoming like a maybe sort of pushing past that brand a little bit too, but then obviously it got cut short and fucking tragedy, dude. But this is why myself, big reason why I'll never ride a horse. You ain't gonna get me on a horse, Steve. I'm not riding a fucking horse. I don't give a fuck how well trained you think it is. Like I get he was doing some next level shit. He was trying to, do some equestrian jumping, but I ain't getting on a fucking horse, period, because that could happen. And that's fucking crazy.
Same reason I don't get on motorcycles. Give me 4 wheels. Fuck that shit. I don't.
No, dude, if you come out here and think about being on a motorcycle when you see people on the highway on those shits out in LA, it's fucking nuts. Fuck all that.
I don't want no parts, man. Now, and RIP to Christopher Reeve, man. And in that following year, we're here now in 1996, May 27th, WCW Monday Nitro is being held at Macon Centerplex Coliseum in Macon, Georgia. There's 4,309 in attendance. And this is the first 2-hour episode of Nitro and a very special moment, a very special episode of WCW Monday Nitro. This
Put
is
the fucking hammer down, Steve. This is the best. This might be WCW's defining moment in history.
Is
like not the defining moment, obviously, but the start of the greatest thing that to me they ever put out. Period. Which was NWO. Yeah. It was fucking killer. But right off the bat, Steve, I gotta say a couple of things nostalgia-wise I completely forgot about. Tony Schiavone and the living legend Larry Zbyszko. I totally forgot these guys existed, especially Zbyszko, who I think could go toe-to-toe with Jesse the Body for being the antagonistic bad boy announcer.
Oh, I believe that.
But I forgot about them, and they have to be in the Hall of Fame of broadcasting for wrestling because they are a killer team.
And, Tony Schiavone was a longtime WCW guy. He had some stints in WWF, but like we're primarily used to him being calling Flair matches and Dusty Rhodes and Sting and Lex Luger. He's from that camp. And also Larry Zbyszko and Tony Schiavone, they are the announcers for the first hour. And then something I forgot, when that second hour kicks in, that is when they change the broadcast team. And it's Bobby Heenan and Eric Bischoff, Mr. Kendall himself.
Did they always do that? Because I feel like maybe that was a temporary thing because they had just started doing 2 hours of the show because they were coming into their own as a true competitor to the WWF at that time, WWE.
I think that was a constant, man, because every hour they would announce it and they would kick off the match that would start that hour, and it would be like the pyrotechnics kicking off in the entryway and all of that, man.
Well, that was, I didn't remember that, but I have to call out the lineup that WCW had of superstars at this point during this episode was insane. They had all the killers from WWF. All of them had already migrated over to the point where Macho Man, he's so crazy in the storyline that he's not even allowed on the premises. So he's on the back burner. Hulkster's out hobnobbing with celebrities, I guess, not in the mix. But everybody's there, dude. Flair. I forgot about so many of these guys. The Four Horsemen, Arn Anderson. Just go down the list, and they had so many fucking superstar wrestlers at this point. They had to win for a while.
They had to, man, because they totally changed the tide. And, at the time, Razor Ramon and Diesel were longtime staples in WWF. And just unannounced, Mr. Scott Hall would appear on WCW Nitro, and he would do his infamous, you know who I am, but you don't know why I'm here. He would do that whole speech, man, and the world would never be the same again.
Looking like fucking the Bugle Boy himself and all that Canadian tuxedo realness, Steve. I mean, Scott Hall needs respect put on his name. To be part of this, I just feel like at every moment I need to point out to people that this motherfucker, I know some shit went haywire, but he was a badass. This guy was one of my favorite wrestlers.
He's one of the goats, man.
He's my favorite wrestler, so.
Now, the first match, we start off with Arn Anderson and Ric Flair, accompanied by Woman and Elizabeth versus Marcus Alexander Bagwell and Scotty Riggs. Now, Flair is escorted by Elizabeth and Woman, and Elizabeth and Woman are dressed like Price is Right girls, and Ric Flair's dressed like the set of Price is Right. And now, as we all know, this is also Nancy Benoit, the future Miss Chris Benoit, Woman.
I wasn't aware of that, but this is a wild storyline that I forgot about. Ric Flair has stolen Miss Elizabeth from Macho Man. Again. Now the storyline is Macho Man's hemorrhaging money because Miss Elizabeth is paying for all of Ric Flair's extravagances, which, all of it, whatever it is. Exactly. This motherfucker is such a pimp. He's pimping off Macho Man's money. He's got a bitch who's so beleaguered in her spirit that he just calls her a woman. I don't know what that was about. I didn't remember that.
Well, that was her name. That's what she went by.
Steve, this motherfucker has two bitches, Arn Anderson with them, the brick shithouse himself, and a VIP table of charcuterie, cheeses, and wines at ringside just to chill with.
Yeah, just waiting on him after he whips some ass and right before he taps some ass.
I mean, they literally put in here that Miss Elizabeth was spending Macho Man's money on I couldn't believe what I was hearing. This is amazing.
You taking my money, woman? Mm-hmm.
Driving me crazy.
Funneling through my funds.
Fucking woman, Steve. Can you imagine? They're like, hey, Miss Benoit, you're coming up to the big leagues. She's like, oh my God, finally, I get to go out on TV. Who am I going to be? Your woman.
Woman. It's a pretty stale name, but I mean, she, in a way, when it comes to manager escorts, she's kind of a legend because she's been a manager escort of some of the bigger names throughout her career.
She's a tough looking broad, but I mean, Ric Flair's out there. He's talking about afternoon delights. He's giving out champagne. You know, they having a little bit of a strawberry and a champagne before the match. Which again, you gotta respect Ric Flair, man. The guy knows how to do it completely, 100%. So I just hope to be at that level someday.
And this is my middle-aged, one of my favorite versions of Ric Flair. This is middle-aged crisis Ric Flair with the soccer coach dad cut.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's the cut, Steve. That's the cut I had. And that motherfucker looks like he's going to sell you insurance and then fuck your bitch. So
it was a lot of this. Like his promos were just like, Hogan!
Yeah, dude. The fucking tits were flapping. The hair was wild. Apparently, he's fucking Macho Man's bitch so good. She's just giving out money. Like he's just he's using his penis as some sort of ATM. So salute to Ric Flair, dude.
Now the guys that they're fighting, Marcus Alexander Bagwell, as he's known at this time, and Scotty Riggs, their tag team is the American Males, and damn, they look like ripoffs from Chippendales. That like they came out to some real Chotch Daddy music. We're the American Males. We're the American Males. I
mean, a male stripper was a legit character in wrestling for a decade plus. Because again, that's all Marcus Buff Bag. I'm calling him Buff Bagwell. We all know
that's all. That's yeah. His mama call him Buff. I'm gonna call him Buff.
So, can I ask Steve? Because Scotty Riggs, the name sounds super familiar. Was he in with Raven, or
he was a part of that flock? Because you know the flock was all full of like people from the beaten path and who felt like they were like mistreated, and he took them in like a pimp.
Yeah, I mean he was like the grunge pimp, basically. You know, he had that cool surfer hair and a Pookie shell necklace and some fucking flannels. And I gotta be, you know, I liked Raven too. I enjoyed a Raven. He had a nice DDT.
The even flow.
Yeah. Exactly. I even forgot that. I mean, Jesus. The roadie for Pearl Jam became a wrestler, and that's basically who Raven was. So
Daddy didn't WCW, yeah.
But I kept being like, Scotty fucking Riggs. Who the fuck is Scotty? So yeah, I'm glad I remembered that. But yeah, it was nice to see Buff Bagwell. I love me a Buff Bagwell. When he was one half of Vicious and Delicious with the upcoming NWO squad. That was vintage Buff Bagwell. He was also into softcore pornography.
You want an adventure you won't forget. Return to Savage Beach.
This is a major bust for our lethal force agents.
That really hurt.
They know that we're on to. When you return to Savage Beach, peak of boom.
Yes.
We'll all drink to that.
And I enjoyed it. It was a great, funny B movie with a little bit of softcore fucking in it, and it was great. So
you didn't have to see his wang.
No,
that's always
it was it was a lot of good, but he's a good fucking funny element to the movie, and he was always funny in the. You know, he had his little shit he did, his little flex dance, and as you know, he was basically a male stripper his whole career.
I mean, that's his background before he was a wrestler. And but unfortunately
he really was a male stripper, Steve?
Yeah, dude.
Well, I don't know why. I'm not surprised, but I guess I just had never had it certified. So, damn. Great.
But unfortunately for Mr. Bagwell, he gets DDT'd, or the American Males get DDT'd by the powerhouse Arn Anderson, and the DDT stands for damn that's tough. I don't know if you caught that, man, but that was a powerful DDT. He just laid that motherfucker on, and it's a wrap. Flair and Anderson.
Don't let Arn Anderson get his hands on. He will fucking. He looks like Al Borland if he has a shirt on, but when he gets in there and fucking starts beating ass, he'll kick your ass, Steve.
Yeah, Arn Anderson.
300.
Like he's the Al Borland that happens if you don't do your chores.
Oh yeah, for sure. But Arn Anderson, total beast. And Double A definitely. I didn't recall it as like a super DDT, but he whooped that ass, and I'm not surprised.
And they win in 13 minutes. And as we find out at the time, Arn Anderson and Ric Flair are also having a beef with Steve McMichael and your boy Kevin Green, and they cut to a promo of Kevin Green and Steve McMichael working out. Yeah, man, more lifts, man, give me more reps. And they're talking in the camera and talking about what they're going to do to Arn Anderson and Ric Flair.
Very much looks like a 90s television ad for a local gym. It's two meatheads with that 90s camera and the cuts and shit, and they're just like, yeah, you got it. Yeah, get that pump on. I don't even know who the fuck Mongo McMichaels is. I don't know who the fuck that motherfucker is, but
he was on the 86 Bears. The Bears.
Kevin Green's out there, and I just wish for his sake that he wasn't. But at this point, he wasn't on the Steelers, and even Zabisco starts fucking with him and ribbing him a lot. So, Kevin, stay in your lane, bud.
Well, Kevin, R.I.P. and good energy to Steve McMichael and his family, because right now what he's dealing with is ALS. He was just diagnosed in April, and there are pictures of him, and he's wheelchair riddled. And yeah, man, it's a tough fight. I can't even imagine,
dude,
bro.
That Bears team is all fucking fucked. Jim McMahon's apparently he can walk out of his house and just forget who he is. He's so fucked up in the head. So I mean, damn, that's crazy. Good luck to him. I hope everything goes well.
For sure, man. And now we cut to the next match, and it's the Mauler with Colonel Parker versus Steve Dahl. And no one gives a fuck about the Mauler or Steve Dahl, but what we do give a fuck about is this gentleman who interrupts during this Steve Dahl Mauler match. And it's none other than our guy, Mr. Bad Guy himself, Scott Hall.
And this is unprecedented. This was a guy who was in WWF actively, or so we thought, coming on to a different show, a rival show. And boy, he's unhappy with a lot of people, Steve. Ted Turner, notably. Nacho Man.
The Nacho Man.
Fucking, and what does he call him? Kendall? Fucking Bischoff?
The Kendall, yeah. You know who I am, but you don't know why I'm here. Where's Billionaire Ted? Where's the Nacho Man?
That punk can't even get in the building.
Where's that Kendall? And he keeps referring to we, but he doesn't say who we is.
Scheme Gene also, Steve.
And Scheme Gene.
WCW. I mean, he's calling him out. And again, this was groundbreaking for me as a fan of this guy. He's showing up. It's like, what the fuck is going on? Is he about to whoop somebody's ass? Because I knew wrestling was fake, but at this point, this guy's showing up. I mean, he literally starts threatening fucking people to their face at some point. You're like, what is going on here? This doesn't seem planned.
They're blurring the line at this point, and we didn't have enough access to the internet. I think because I was still a naive and wanting to believe teenager at this time, it's like, oh man, he just pulled a fucking 50 Cent How to Rob the Industry, where he's just fucking named like, hey, I'm here, and like it's open.
Who's we? He just he's like, we declare war on WCW, and everybody's like, who is we? You know who we? It's like, god damn, who the fuck is going on? Yes,
that's how they get you.
Yeah, hell yeah.
And now Steve Dahl, somebody cares about him, and he died unfortunately in 2009 due to a blood clot from a lung that reached his heart. He was 48 years old. Steve Dahl,
damn,
R.I.P.
Steve.
Yeah, man, I need to do better with life. But the next match, now Scott Hall, he's made his appearance. He's letting the people know I'm here. We cut to the next match, and it's Diamond Dallas Page versus Sergeant Greg Pittman with manager Teddy Long.
Yeah, I mean, we discussed this off camera. The Sarge, you know, he's looking a little disheveled. DDP coming in with full highlighter colored pants. A full early DDP. This was when he was still kind of not a hero of WCW. He was kind of heelish.
Yeah.
He had very much like a Ric Flair type energy too. He's kind of like a schemer wrestler. He'd cheat a little bit, you know, sort of try to get the ref to get on his side and like do fake like things like he was getting, you know, fucked with and shit. But the one thing that I pointed out, it wasn't me, Steve. My wife, I'm going to blame her for this, but whoever was doing DDP's wardrobe needed to not give him these pants because his fucking dick is just straight out for all to see in these pants, bro. And he's not doing himself any favors. My wife's like, Jesus Christ. I was like, what? Because I kept looking at the hair. I was like, damn, I wish I had some hair like that. I don't.
Fucking Jerry Curl mullet.
And she's like, no, his fucking dick's out. I was like, what? And I just look, I mean, his little fucking dinker's just in there tucked in full. I mean, you can see it, Steve. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to besmirch DDP and make you think about a penis, but DDP was showing that DD penis.
Well, DDP stands for Double Deluxe Package. I didn't know if you hear that, man.
I didn't.
Now he makes quick work of Sergeant Craig Pittman. His Double Deluxe Package defeat the Sarge in 3 minutes and 1 second. Makes quick work of him. And we go to a Macho Man promo, and apparently he is banned from all things WCW because he's considered a loose cannon.
He's too crazy.
Don't know. He's too crazy. Oh my God, I'm an X Factor. I'm the Wild Child. I'm too hot for TV, and I can't turn the volume down on my jacket. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Ric Flair's taking my money. He's taking my pussy.
I mean, he's
and Hogan be a man.
The video is insane. The fact that they aired it that way, I was like, damn, this doesn't like. Maybe he's gonna lose his kids if they use this in court. It's that type of video.
Yeah,
a lot of coke. Again, like how much coke was Macho Man consuming in his life? Was it a kilo a day? Was it?
It's never been confirmed if the man did drugs, but man, I don't know. Like you can't be that turned up all the time, every time.
I feel like he's like the Wade Boggs of coke. You know, Wade Boggs could drink his ass up. I feel like Macho Man just did fucking like a forearm size line before he cut these promos because it looks like he's sweating. He looks like his heart's about to explode, and it's great to watch. But I mean, man, it's got to take its toll on your body.
The cream always rises to the top. And they after that they shoot a promo for Hulk Hogan, and they explain why he's been gone for so long. Apparently he was taking a hiatus of some sorts, and they're saying that he's hobnobbing with celebrities. He's with George Foreman, Shaquille O'Neal, Dennis Rodman, Kevin Green, Sugar Ray Leonard, your mom. And
did you say Shaq?
Yeah.
Okay, I was gonna say he's hanging out with these. Like I don't remember this, but Hulkster was sorely missed. Obviously, Macho Man needed a shoulder to cry on, maybe some money too at this point. So
I mean, when Hulkster's gone, the presence will be felt. It's the immortal one, man. I mean, love him or hate him, he's the one that brought us all to this yard. Most of us from this era.
I mean, for me, fuck yes. So, and apparently, they're saying this, but I think. If I'm thinking about the timeline right, I think Hulkster might have been canoodling with Scott Hall and Kevin Nash behind the scenes a little bit too.
So this is what we're going to do, brother.
God, can we do all of these? I feel like you gotta at least to when Hogan fucking becomes Hollywood Hogan,
Yeah.
Because that was the real I remember this episode a little bit. The episode I remember with Scott Hall the most is when they power bombed Bischoff, I think, off of the announce table.
Yeah, onto the announce table. I remember that. Yeah.
But fuck, dude, this shit was so crazy. And Hulkster's hanging out with celebs, and again, weird promo. They just had these like weird interstitial commercials for their shit, but it was very much seemed like a $3 ad. They paid some guy like $5 to edit some footage together.
WCW Nitro graphics always reminded me of AutoZone. Like, WCW in general just seemed very AutoZone to me. Like a lot of Joe Schmo, and even when they pan into the crowd, it's a lot of Joe Schmo, Al Borland looking dudes and their sons. And whereas opposed to WWF, you would go and it would be like a big party. You would see hot chicks flashing their titties. They would say like fucking racy things on their signs. It would be kids. It would be frat bros. It would be bad bitches. It was a different vibe, but WCW would be like, get in the zone.
I mean, it definitely, the chromed out WCW logo, it definitely has that feel. You're right.
Yeah, I think that's what it does it, man.
But I mean, everybody, you got to have a gathering of the Juggalos for every Woodstock, Steve. So, I mean, that's to me what this was at the beginning. But again, this is when they started, some of them hot bitches started to come over to WCW once they got popping on this.
Yeah. Now, we start the second hour off, man, and now it's Eric Bischoff and Bobby Heenan. Eric Bischoff always looked like the long-lost brother of Rob Lowe and Dennis Miller.
Rob Lowe for shizzor, dude, and he won't even acknowledge Scott Hall. Like, he's like, the disrespect. I feel cheated. He's calling us out. He's calling out Ted. This is ridiculous. I will pay him no mind. So let's continue. Yeah. And I didn't remember Heenan was like the announcing crew. I don't know why I thought Mean Gene was the announcer the whole time, but I had this all fucked up in my head. So I'm glad we watched this.
It was a team. Yeah. Heenan and Gorilla were like the pre-Jim Ross and the King, man. Like, and a lot of people think they're the best as opposed to Ross and Lawler. But his quick retorts, Bobby the Brain Heenan, are some of the funniest shit, bro. Now, the next match, we see the Giant, who's the champion at the time. His manager is Jimmy Hart, the Mouth of the South, and he's facing the Shark, who used to be Earthquake back in the day. Now, the Shark, was that?
I think you're about to say it. Go ahead and say what you're about to say, bro.
Well, the Shark, it looks like he got his face painted at the local fair. And it goes back to the budget of WCW. Like, I know y'all have these contracts that you're luring these guys to. So, of course, you can afford better face paint, better wardrobe and makeup.
Hey, put a fucking shark on the outfit. Put him on the leotard. Don't paint your double chin with fucking a fifth grader shark teeth, Steve. That was insane. I was like, this dude can't get respect. He's the fat motherfucker. He's always just angry as fuck. His name's either a synonym for something fat, Earthquake, fucking what was his other one? There was another one too. There was another fatism that they called him. He's either fat or this.
He was also the Olga from the Oddities. He was that guy with the Cartman shirts and the mask. That's him too.
Oh shit! I forgot that was even a thing. But yeah, again, they needed to just like don't do the face paint and just up the budget a little bit, or call him by a name. Just call him John or whatever. Call him something. Don't do this. But what I want to say, giving somebody flowers, Paul White, the Giant, whatever you want to call him. Looking thin as fuck in this. I forgot he was like this.
Got a long mane. This is still when he's rocking the singlet, and he's doing that storyline where people are thinking that he's actual Andre the Giant's son. That was a thing when he first started.
I mean, he's world champ at this point. He's the champ. Everybody's coming for him. People are calling him a circus freak and this shit. I mean, but I forgot Paul White used to look more of a normal human being. I mean, he's a huge motherfucker, obviously, but looking great. And so let's get Shark some more, like, just wipe the face paint off, man. We get
seriously. Now the Giant chokeslammed this Crayola-faced goof in 4 minutes and 1 second. And after that, Big Bubba, the big boss man himself, R.I.P., he comes in and shaves half of the shark's head. So it was bad enough he looked like Carl from Aqua Teen Hunger First. The cop had to come down. Yeah. Well, they had a beef, and he was in the Faces of Doom or some shit like that. And they shunned him. They kicked the shark out, maybe because his character sucked and he couldn't paint his face right. But yeah, it was like a couple of send-offs or cast-offs that formed a group called the Faces of Fear. I think that's what they were called. And that was their whole beef. And Big Bubba came down like, he's down. I'm gonna make him look uglier. And
I mean, goddamn, like I said, this guy's already out there looking like a fucking schmo, and then you cut half his fucking hair off, and he's fucking a chuddy fat guy to like. All he's got is whatever coke he's got left, and that's it. He doesn't even have dignity at this point. So I just felt kind of bad for the shark. But I mean, I guess you got to break a couple eggs, Steve. It was his time. So.
Now ain't nobody got love for the shark, man. I'm the shark, man,
dude. I'd be like, I came over here, and this is the best you guys got. Like, what's the outfit look like? Oh, what else you got? And they're like, maybe we can paint your face. Like, I don't know.
Maybe you could do. What if you come out and you're like do 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 do? You could do that in your promo. You could be like do 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 do.
That guy, seriously though, the anger he has in his promos is. If he was yelling at, if he was mad at me in the movie theater the way that Weatherman was, I mean, I would be like shitting myself. It's terrifying.
Oh, look at him.
He got into Macho Man's stash of coke, and he's doing it all too. Him and Macho Man probably partied a lot.
His anger comes from hurt. And the next match is Lex Luger, the total package versus Max with 2 X's, like TJ. It's Lex Luger versus Max with 2 X's, just like TJ.
I mean, dude, who the fuck was Max, dude? They were just like, we need a yoke guy. Get a yoke guy.
Well, Max was short for Max Muscle, which is short for maximum muscle, not to be confused with minimal muscle. But Max, he's obviously went through different renditions, and at this time Lex is the television champ. I never really cared for Lex Luger. He was just really bland. He was just muscles and some tights, and he didn't have personality. When he came to WWF, it's like, okay, we'll put you in some purple and gray tights, we'll call you the narcissist. It's like, all right, well, okay, Hogan's gone. Let's give you this all-American patriotic gimmick. We'll put some like striped tights on you, and you'll be the all-American Lex Luger. All right, no, and then he goes back to WCW. Let's just put some black tights on you, and you'll just be the Lex Luger.
Yeah, now you're the total pack. Like, to me, he was either like a guy who failed at being a male porn star but had the body for it, or they pulled him off of like an Arnold competition, like a poser. But the only thing I got to say about Lex Luger that I respect is the torture rack as a move, because to have to wrestle a full match and all the physicality that entails, and then get some big fucking dude on top, on your shoulder, like he basically does the whole shit himself, and then does all that shit. I mean, how many fucking back problems does fucking the narcissist have?
Well, he gave the total, or the torture rack to the Giant. He gave that to him a couple times.
Well, like this led up to that, because I mean that's what he was saying after the match. They interview him, and he's like, I don't feel respected at all, and I want to get he's going to get it doesn't matter who they are, how big they are, he's going to get them in the rack. So I'm like you. I never thought he was a fucking cool guy. The one moment I remember from my childhood that was sort of his pinnacle to me is when he wrestled, I think, Yokozuna on an aircraft carrier and actually physically picked him up and slammed him, which had never been done.
Yeah.
So that was his moment in the sun, but that's all he was. He was just like a guy who looked good posing and flexing. And that's
a total package.
He did a lot of this, a lot of the titty shit, and he was doing it, but he didn't move the needle for me. Unless he got into NWO. He got cultivated into the flock. So shout out, but step aside.
Yeah, he was never in anyone's top 10. I never met anyone that was like, you know what, my favorite wrestler is Lex Luger.
That guy's a psycho, dude. If that guy is probably beating off to himself in the mirror. That he likes Lex Luger. So,
and like one of the quick Bobby Heenan retorts or whatever, Eric Bischoff comments on Max's haircut. He says, "Nice haircut, Max." And Bobby Heenan says, "Yeah, if you're going to the chair." Fucking dude, brilliant.
Like, who was that guy? But yeah, you're right. Bobby the Brain fucking
he was
snap.
You gotta be, man.
Snap, son.
And he also got torture racked within 5 minutes and 45 seconds by the total package.
Yeah.
Now, Luger does a post-match promo, and it's super forgettable, like all of his other promos. Now, we cut to the next match, and it's Hard Work Bobby Walker versus Brad Armstrong. Is it hard work or hardly working?
This is his tryout, Steve. He tried out. But it obviously didn't work out too well for fucking Hard Work.
Now, Brad Armstrong, R.I.P., he died in 2012. And do you know who Brad Armstrong's brother is?
No.
Oh, you didn't know?
Road Dogg.
Your ass better call somebody. Brian Armstrong, Mr. Road Dogg. It's me, the D-O-double-G himself. And Mr. Brad Armstrong actually comes from a family of wrestlers. He has 3 brothers, Brian being one of them, and his father was a wrestler. And like I said, he died in 2012. And apparently Hard Work Bobby Walker wasn't working hard enough, because I don't know if you saw his little thing where he tried to run up the top rope. He slipped every time. And maybe you need to go back to the gym and practice on that. Now, Bobby Walker still found a way to win in 4 minutes and 26 seconds. There's a WCW magazine promo with Sting. This is the old school Sting with the flat top. Or no, does he have the flat top? No, but it's still.
He's got the little like JTT flex at this point, like the middle part. But Steve, I was a subscriber to WCW Magazine. This was a magazine my parents allowed me to get. Low-key flex. I was out there with you. There's probably a couple old school issues somewhere in the back catalogs, but
so you were that kid in the promo.
Yeah, and I all it was a lot of pictures of buff dudes, so I don't really like you having it really didn't pay off that much, but I guess every once in a while you get like a cool Scott Hall poster or something, but mostly it was like just guys with their shirt off posing. Like, I don't really know why.
In wrestling, Matt, in wrestling.
Yeah, but still, like, just if you picked it up at a fucking doctor's office, you'd be like, okay, like, whatever. This is weird now. But I subscribed. So they got my money. And, unfortunately, Hard Work Bobby Walker didn't get a lot of that money because he probably was laid off soon thereafter. I don't remember him at all. So.
Yeah, then Bobby Walker stopped working. Hey, I am no longer working, Bobby Walker.
Bobby Walker.
You need to work on that name, Hard Work Bobby Walker. This is the 90s where you have to like go a little bit forward and go the extra mile and be creative. Like I can imagine what his promos were like. Hey, Brad Armstrong, this Monday, I'm going to be working hard. I'm a hard worker and I'm going to be working hard on you. Wait, I'm Bobby Walker.
Sincerely, Bobby. I'll be working hard. Thank you.
And now the main event for this Nitro is Sting versus Scott Steiner. Mr.
Steve, I gotta
Papa
stop
Pump.
you though, because you went over a whole match.
Oh, my bad. I did, man. It was Lord Steven Regal, the man's man, and Das Wonder Kid, Alex Wright. I'm so sorry.
This is the battle for who's whitest, Steve, for sure. And I gotta say, Steven Regal has some kind of British fop with him that's like escorting him to the ring. And it's very, I remembered Steven Regal, but I don't remember this like Britishness. Like
that's always been his thing. Like that's
he's too good for you, mate.
Yeah, that's always been his thing.
Bloody good for you, mucking wanks. He's just basically he just not to even undercut Alex Wright because Das Wunderkind was one of my favorites. Him and Disco Inferno had a tag team of, again, basically male strippers, because that's what Das Wunderkind was. He was just a German male stripper. So,
and Regal wins in 10 minutes and 18 seconds. It was a grapple match, and Steven Regal, he's a trainer. He would eventually be a trainer for a lot of the upcoming wrestlers because he is a tactician, a technician, if you will, and his craft is heavily respected. And now the final match is Sting versus Scott Steiner, and I feel like this is the beginning of the end for both of these characters. This is starting to become the end for this rendition of Sting, and these are some of the last couple months of this version of Scott Steiner that we've all known from the Steiner brothers. Man, they would both change their personas later into the decade, and enjoy them while you can. This is the last of the colorful Sting, and
it's crazy you pointed that out, because that's literally my first note. The progression that they made basically from now to what they, like, I'm sure other people like the Crow Sting and Scott Steiner being the big bad booty daddy, shout out. This was the last wholesome, because, Scott Steiner, the Steiner brothers, they were like the wholesome tag team. They were the homegrown boys, and they were just like making it in wrestling. They were technicians, but again, definitely both of their careers skewed in a weird way. They were still popular, but their personas just completely, like, I guess, like for Sting, it was just like it was kind of, because he was outspoken. He talked a lot. He was the hero for the kids, the Stinger.
He was the face of the franchise. It was him and Ric Flair. They kind of like were the pilots of the ship, man. And he was the colorful Sting. He had the blonde hair, and at this point, I think it's brown or brunette. I don't think he has the blonde at this point.
Yeah, it's brown. It's like dark brown, but with that JTT flutter before. But the face paint was still on brand Sting. The eye, like, sort of shit with the sharp edges. But for Sting, the way he progressed, I wasn't as huge of a fan. I like this old school Sting, and he talked more. He was kind of like a surfer guy type dude. That might be a misrepresentation, but how Scott Steiner progressed, I love that.
Oh yeah, that's brilliant.
Yeah, I always loved Scott Steiner because of his moves when he was at part of the Steiner brothers, the Frankensteiner especially. It was just a crazy fucking move.
Before people called it the Hurricane Rana, like, he was the first guy I saw to do this move in the early 90s. It was like, whoa.
And he was big as fuck. Like, he's huge as fuck. Like, if you watch this match, even this match, that he has the insane mullet now, so he still has old school look. But as far as him being a straight up horse, he is like one of the most muscular wrestlers of all time. He has to be.
He would eventually balloon, and his biceps would have biceps.
Tennis balls. He had a tennis ball in, like, it was a huge this, and then there was this other thing that happened that can only happen when, it's more of like a collection of like adrenaline and coke and testosterone more than a muscle, but that's what that was, Steve. So
HGH. Yeah. And like halfway through the match, we get some interference. Lex Luger comes to ringside, and he's followed by Scott's brother, Rick Steiner, the dog-faced gremlin. And eventually an all-out brawl starts. Then everyone from the previous matches come in to stop the fight, and it leads to a double disqualification in 10 minutes and 16 seconds. And again, Scott Hall comes out in the end to the broadcast booth to confront Bischoff, a.k.a. Mr. Kendall.
And that perfect Ocean's 11 moment, Steve. This big fucking shit happens. Eric Bischoff and Bobby Heenan are sitting pretty in that announcing booth / Tommy Lee drums kit area that they have set up for Monday Nitro. And then all of a sudden, Bischoff's like, oh. And then fucking there he is.
Yeah.
The bad guy. He's back. I don't know where he's been this whole time. You'd think they'd want to find him, like just the police, but no, he's evaded all police. He might have killed some cops on his way back out.
He found the perfect hiding spot for the following 1 hour and like 20 minutes or so. And then he just found a way to like pop out, unfazed, untouched.
There you go. And Bischoff's like, oh my God. He's not like that, but Scott Hall's got some fucking words, and he reiterates what he's been saying. And he keeps saying, we are taking over. So who's this we? Who is we? What? Who are these people? Is there an army with Scott Hall somewhere? We don't know, Steve. It could be anybody. It could be fucking goddamn Saddam Hussein for all we know. It's this weird energy. And Bischoff looks like he's worried his ass is going to get kicked.
Tune in and find out on the next WCW Nitro.
And then for every Monday after that, solid viewership. I was watching WCW every Monday over WWF. Sometimes I'd switch over when it was DX and I saw it, but if you gave me a choice, it was WCW all the way after this.
Yeah, man. They had the third hour. I think Raw was only 2, and the benefit of having the 3 hours was when the lightweights and the flyweights were having their matches, the announcers would promote the later matches, and they would just blow it up and hype it up, man. And then plus, like, people were already watching that, so it was like, do you feel like switching over? I switched over because this was Stone Cold, The Rock, Mankind, Undertaker.
Yeah,
we'll talk about those guys later.
Hey, you want to go to war? You want a war? You're going to get one.
Our quest to bring you the newest fruit roll-ups continues. First, we looked deep into hypnotizing rolls, but that was a real sleeper. Then we tried frozen rolls, but that left us a little cold. Then we saw the light. New secret pictures from Fruit Roll-Ups. Home to any light to reveal fun hidden pictures and messages in a blast and fruit flavor that's clearly delicious. New secret pictures from Fruit Roll-Ups. What fun Fruit Roll-Ups will we roll out with next?
But in 1997, that following year, on May 27th, Batman and Robin soundtrack is released. And the only thing that stood out was Gotham City by R. Kelly.
Yeah, I mean, this is like a complete 180 from the previous Batman movie, Batman Forever, whose soundtrack was complete lightning in a bottle. Fantastic. Yeah. This, I don't remember the soundtrack. I remember the complete fucking turd of a movie that this is.
Freezing hell, Batman!
Shit show.
It is one of the first movies I ever walked out of. I did not watch the whole movie when I first saw it, but I think it wasn't necessarily me being like, I'm taking a stand. It was just like a time thing, but I didn't watch this and I wasn't unhappy about it. But it is fun to watch. If you get high and watch this movie, it is hilarious because it is so ridiculous.
Weed makes a lot of things more enjoyable or tolerable. Now, on that same day, when the soundtrack for the shitty Batman Robin movie was released, Marv Albert pleads innocent to charges of sexual assault. Yes.
Let me bite you on the back. Like, dude, this is crazy. This was one of the weirdest. There's a lot of sort of urban legends that occur with celebrities. For us, I think there was the Lil Kim drank so much cum that she had to get her stomach pumped. There were, sort of these stories of maybe like Richard Gere getting a gerbil stuck in his ass that you never knew were real. This was a real thing that happened where this motherfucker, I think it was a hooker. He bit a hooker on the back and she sued him.
Albert called her to his hotel room. I guess like this woman wasn't a hooker. He called her to his hotel room to send a fax, only for her to find him wearing white panties and a garter belt. And Albert maintained that Perhock was her name, had requested that he bite her and denied her accusation. He had asked her to bring another man into their sexual affair. He described the recorded conversation of hers with the police on the night of the incident as an Academy Award performance. After tests proved that the bite marks were his, he pleaded guilty to misdemeanor assault and battery charges, while the sodomy charge was dropped. Sheesh.
She's on fire.
Another 3 by Michael Jordan.
Listen to Marv Albert. That's a good Marv Albert. That's a good Marv Albert, Steve. I'm putting that one on wax.
Yeah. You should be proud.
Let me bite your back, Steve.
And by the way, I like the simpler things in life, like lollipops in my ass. Yes.
My dick is on fire.
What a magnificent play from Pittman. I like the way chaps.
Different strokes for different folks, Steve.
Hey.
You know, if a guy shows up and he's in a garter belt, it's Marv Albert. Like, imagine seeing Marv Albert's fucking crazy old ass in some lingerie and a garter belt already. I'd be put off. And then he starts biting you on the back.
Now,
would you be scarred for life, Steve? I hope this woman's okay. That's all I got to say. She probably got paid, but this
I could never watch NBA again. It would ruin it. Like,
I mean, I'm fine with it. He's still doing it. He's still working. He got jobs after that.
Well, yeah, he announced his retirement this year. He's getting inducted to the Hall of Fame this year too. So what does that tell you?
While that, see, here's the chill. I'm going to set the scene, Steve. He comes out of the shadows. Fucking NBA whatever's on the TV. And as the theme songs play, he comes out of the shadows and just bites you on the back. How terrifying would that be?
It would
scared.
Yeah, man. It would ruin the whole sport for me, dude. But that following year in 1998, I got the hookup premieres. I mean, this is the follow-up to About It, I guess.
They're running a fake cell phone company. Yeah. They're selling burners. The burners don't work. The standout thing I remember from this that's completely not politically correct is a group of what I can only call mentally handicapped people on scooters that are basically a street gang that terrorizes the neighborhood that this movie's set in. Because at one point, there's definitely one of these guys like going in slow motion trying to attack somebody. So I didn't make the movie, but you can look this up.
It was the 90s, man. I mean, things were a little bit more forgiving, I'm guessing.
That was a fucking Steve. Here's how mind-blowing it is now. That, which is insane, was also a recurring character / sketch on In Living Color with Damon Wayans.
With Handyman.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it was Blank Man too as a movie, but Handyman was legit insane if you watch. You might not even be able to watch it now.
And it's starring Master P, of course. He couldn't be pictured here. And AJ Johnson. A lot of people were in it. Of course, Tiny Lister and John Witherspoon, RIP to both of them. And I like Tiny Lister. I feel like he's played the exact same character in everything he does, even down to the Sublime video. Like he's the same, like just big menacing figure. Even when he was on Fresh Prince, he was like that dude. And No Holds Barred, he's that dude.
If it's not broke, don't fix it, Steve.
Don't fix it.
Why?
I'm not hating. RIP to both though, man. And on that same day when I got the hookup premiered, the Oklahoma City bombing, Michael Fortier is sentenced to 12 years in prison and fined for $200,000 for failing to warn authorities about the terrorist plot. Now, Michael Fortier, he was actually in the military with Timothy McVeigh and Terry Nichols, and he was made aware by the group of these plans. And they testified in court, and they said that if they testified against the two, him and his wife, they would get a lesser sentence, and he would eventually be released in 2006 on good behavior.
I mean, I do remember this. This was one of those everything stops moments where everybody's watching their TV. And I remember McVeigh and seeing all that footage. It was crazy, man.
Oh, man. Now, any takeaways, plans of action?
I mean, first of all, just honorable mention to the writers of WCW and WWF wrestling at this time, because seeing what we saw, I hate to keep reiterating it, but this is some of the best this is a monumental time in wrestling. It was the birth of a new era, an era that you and I both love a lot, and so fucking cool to see. And as far as calls of action, first of all, hit us up if you like the show. Definitely hit me and Steve up. We love talking to anybody about the show and what you guys like and don't like about it. But also, Crushgasm, one of our sister shows, is going to be releasing another episode Kendra's doing that once a week. And I don't know the specific one coming out, but these ones are burners, guys. If you like funny stories about crushes of different kinds, definitely check it out. I've been enjoying it.
And they are really there's a variety of different crushes. I've listened. I've been catching up on Crushgasm, and whether it's a celebrity crush, somebody you knew in school, or a cartoon character that you really had the hots for, it made your jeans jump. Check out Crushgasm, man, every Wednesday. And Kendra, she's killing it, man.
Hell yeah, man.
Shout out to Kendra.
Definitely. Shout out Kendra. But what about Over the Culture? What's going on with that?
Over the Culture, man. I'm going to be talking about the Marshall Mathers LP. It's a very influential album. It came out our junior year going into senior year, and that was the soundtrack of my senior summer. Preparing for the last year of Perry's Booger High School, and man, this Marshall Mathers LP, I just put tracks and lines into this CD, man. It was heavily played. It's one of my favorite. It's in the top 10 hip hop albums of all time, in my opinion. So I'm going to be talking about that, the importance of it to me, as well as the rest of pop culture, as well as Indiana Jones, Temple of Doom, as that was released on May 23rd.
Wow.
In 1980. I wish I had the year, but it was released on May 23rd, along with the Marshall Mathers LP, which was released May 23rd in 2000.
I mean, Marshall Mathers LP, why great skits.
Yeah.
Great. I too fucking played lines into the back of that CD. The song I remember the most, the Mushroom song. I never meant to give you mushrooms, girl.
Girl.
I never meant to bring you to my world. Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
That shit, man, it was such a wild ass album at the time to hear that shit. I mean, I don't know. If you ask, I don't like. It sounds shitty, but most white rappers I tend to not like. I don't even like Eminem because of a roommate that I had that just played it so much that I can't listen to it anymore, and it soured me. And you know why? Doherty, fuck you and your goddamn playing of 8 Mile. You ruined Eminem. And your dance to 8 Mile, so song on 8 Mile is one of the greatest things of all time. So shout out Doherty, but fuck you also because I can't listen to Eminem anymore. So
that's unfortunate, man. Now, ladies and gentlemen, please don't be shy. I know y'all are watching this. Like, share, subscribe, and comment. What was your favorite moment of WCW? What do you think the genesis of the whole Attitude Era was? Please talk to us.
How much cocaine do you think Macho Man did? In it, in his lifetime, maybe. Like we can talk about all this and much more. So hit us up.
Yeah. Don't leave us hanging. This is Steve G and Matt G with Happen in the 90s.